Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. John Swinny has said that he is happy to debate the future of oil and gas in Aberdeen, and indeed the whole of the northeast of Scotland. And that is a very kind of wishy-washy answer when he was questioned about it. Because he was asked whether he supported it or not, but he said, no, I'm happy to debate it, no problem at all, debating the future. Because after all, debating does not mean doing. Debating does not mean showing support for it. He's just telling people that he is at some future point willing to talk about it, just not now and just not in a positive light. Why can Swinny not come out right now and say, no, we understand we need oil, we understand it's important, we understand there are so many things that we're reliant upon with the oil that we cannot give it up, and we must not listen to the mad Greens who say we must bankrupt the country so that we don't have any oil, even though then we will have to buy in oil from all over the world because the whole world runs on oil, and at the moment we're probably only 200 or 300 years away from finding an alternative. But he won't do that because he doesn't want to alienate everyone in the northeast of Scotland, because he knows if he does that, the SNP are finished, although probably finished already. Let's take a look to see why Swinny is so reticent when it comes to oil. So, John Swinny commits to debate the future of oil and gas in Aberdeen, not necessarily protect it or promote it, not necessarily destroy it either. But he's not willing to say, he's only willing to talk about it. Does the man have no stance, or is it more likely he hasn't been told what stance he should have yet by his masters? The new First Minister says he's very happy to take part in the challenge first agreed by Humza Yousaf and opposition leaders, which is to basically sit there and yak and chat and talk and do nothing. First Minister John Swinny says he'd be very happy to join political leaders across Scotland for a debate on the future of oil and gas in Aberdeen. And unless that future is lined out and said, next 300 years minimum, then it's pointless. Energy and the shift to renewables is a key voter talking point ahead of the next general election for the industry, supporting 93,000 jobs across Scotland. And of course they keep talking about energy. However, oil is way more than just energy. These made of oil, you know. The computer you're looking at, made of oil. The internet runs on oil. These people are too stupid to understand that oil is not just pouring shit into cars. It is the entire world, the modern world in which we live. Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce agreed to host the event, and it is discussing dates now with party leaders. The Press and Journal asked Mr Swinny if he was up for the proposed debate in Aberdeen while he visited the Ardursia port near Inverness on Monday, and I apologise, it isn't a hard word, but my glasses, they're varifocals, and I'm looking through the top of it and everything's a bit of a blur. Anyway, this was near Inverness, and this was on Monday, which has just secured a £100 million investment. So tell me how bad oil and gas is when you're getting that kind of thing. I'm very happy, he says, to debate the future of oil and gas. He says, I want to make sure the oil and gas sector has got a future, given its pivotal nature in our energy future. Yes, he wants to make sure. But what he doesn't say there is, I'm going to ensure. I want to is not the same as going to, is it? Come on, use the correct language. Don't use mealy-mouthed, I'm not answering language. Are you going to do anything to secure it? Yes or no? And of course he doesn't know yet. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He hasn't had the memo. He says, we've obviously got obligations that we've got to fulfil in making the transition to net zero, of which there is no such thing. And the oil and gas sector has got to play its part in that. I'm going to suggest, actually, if you look at it in the round, oil and gas is net zero. You see, so what happened was all these animals were there, and they sucked all that carbon in from the atmosphere, and the ground and everything, boom, to create these animals. And so you had this negative, this big negative carbon in the world. And now we're burning those crushed animals. And so we're putting it back. And so the net effect is zero. So there you go. Job's a good one. This is why net zero is impossible. You can't have it. Anyway, he said the sector supports more than 84,000 jobs across Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire, and hundreds more across the Highlands according to the latest figures. Plus, everybody in Britain relies upon oil for their job. End of story. It supports every job in the world. Sure, there may be a yak farmer up in the Himalayas who doesn't use any oil product at all, lives entirely off the land, you know, knits his clothes from yak hair or something. High Court judges' wigs, they're made from yak hair, you know. But other than a few, one or two, of the 8 billion people on the planet, they all rely on oil. Mr. Swinny was put on the spot at Holyrood last week over whether he would axe the SNP's policy of presumption against new oil and gas exploration, since ditching the Greens from government. Well, it doesn't really matter because it's not a devolved government policy, is it? It's Westminster, it's national security, and it has not been devolved, so it doesn't matter what they say, but it is their attitude that is important. In response, the new First Minister said he wants to ensure there are so-called just transitions, but has failed. Nobody's failed to say what that is. What actually is a just transition? Is it just a transition? Is it just a transition without thought, without replacement? Is it, let's just rip it out now and hope something comes along later, like Mr. McCorber? You can't blame Mr. McCorber with the country's finances. Ho-hum, let's hope something comes along. Expenditure, 20 shillings and sixpence. Income, 20 shillings. Result, misery. Anyway, he added, we have a climate crisis and we have to check. No, we haven't. You have not got a climate crisis, John. You know that because you're still letting private planes fly and they haven't shut down Las Vegas and Disney World yet. If there was truly a crisis, an emergency, whatever you want to call it, they would have gone. They're very wasteful. And then he talks bollocks, so I don't care. The moment they say climate crisis, they haven't banned private jets. You know he's talking absolute dog's bollocks. Coming up. So there you go. He's happy to sit round a table, drink tea, eat biscuits and talk, but not actually happy to come out and commit or to say that he will do anything or that he even sees a future for oil and gas in Scotland. Seems odd that one of the biggest money spinners the entire country has is in the hands of people who really don't want to invest in it or even care for it. Anyway, we'll finish there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.